Would you like to dance? By the way, those appetizers were really good. You should try some. Like that. I've got a boss guy breathing down my neck. I don't exactly have the luxury of doing as I please.
Maybe they could have danced. This much is true. My reason for being at the party too. However, Chief's presence in there has made a lot of things difficult. Approaching them was out of the question when there was a night watching a person who knew exactly the reason why I was there. It turned out to be a good call on my part. But for someone who's already angry beyond reason, everything will sound like an excuse.
Cut the shite.
Cut the shite!
I saw you stuffing your face with the deviled eggs while your own boss is off on the other side of the room.
Because we were waiting, Luke! We had nothing to do.
You didn't even exchange a word or a glance with him either. In fact, I think you're also avoiding the man. Just say you don't want to talk about it instead of lying to my face.
I do feel guilty. Still, we've already been down this road. This is something I've done so repeatedly in the past, something she's heard from me more times than all of my fingers could count. Something I just have to get over with at this moment.
I'm sorry, you know that, Becca. I really am. I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't have a good reason to.
And you know that I don't like you lying to me!
Whoa! Calm down.
If you can't tell the truth, just don't say anything and shut your gob! I swear, Ashton Frey, you are just so dense! I'm so angry. I can't even bear to look at you right now because I swear I'll knock you right off your block!
Oh, Jesus!
I mean, what good reason could you have to act like an antisocial asshole?
Ooh. She's got one hell of a temper.
The only time you did talk to me was to spout some vague nonsense about Luke. What was that all about? Were you somehow expecting me to just accept everything as it is?
You really shouldn't go near that man, Becca.
Why? Because you don't trust him? I wonder if you actually trust anyone.
Ouch.
Aside from the three of us, Zach, Isabella, and myself, do you even have any other friends? If you're perfectly fine with that, then go ahead. No one is stopping you. But don't expect me to share the same views. I can have a life of my own. Friends that I don't necessarily share with you. I'm an adult, Ashton, and I can make my own bloody decisions.
Shit, I missed it. Of course, she's allowed to do it as she pleases. I've never mentioned she can. Oh, but we can also go there. Because I understand I can make my own bloody decision. As I sure as hell I can choose the people I want to let into my life. Us growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us. It's a dumb notion to believe when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. She'll make friends with people outside of her little circle. I'm just as free to form relationship with other people. But why, of all people, did it have to be him? Why does it have to be Luke? Luke, right. That guy is nothing but trouble. How can she defend a guy like that? She's already calling him Luke, for Pete's sake.
I trust Zach, I trust Isabella, and I trust you, Rebecca. So why can't you trust me on this? You need to stay away from that man. Because I really wish I could tell you.
What was that saying Isabella mentioned before? A liar is a brother of a thief. I like that. People who look at me now will probably say I'm a hair's breadth away from being a criminal. Z-Man has mentioned that once, furious into our friendship. I laughed it up back then, but now, you're probably right. Little by little, I'm becoming the very kind of person I hate. How ironic. The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation is already awkward as it is. Prolonging will only make it more... difficult? Messed up? as if it's not already. In some way, the lack of words is already an understanding in itself that it's better to leave things for now and talk about it when the wounds are no longer fresh in our minds. At least, it's something we both outwardly agree on at the
Back
moment.
to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as that job is concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report chief on Monday. Though, I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are orders. This is not like the movies. I don't get to say, fuck off, throw my gun and badge at him, become some vigilante, save the day and get my job back. I'd sooner get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. But it's also not my nature to sit still and do nothing. It would drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, Professor Clark has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
Something else? That other matter she mentioned last night specifically. The same stuff Zachary has also been trying to tell me. Oh. Things even the news have been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus, blame on a single serial killer. Or is it still the case?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxborn police.
Yeah, I remember that one. Frankly, there's only one lead we have on this at the moment. All of the crime scenes where the victims have been found have also been vandalized with the same message as that letter. It is something, though nothing substantial to go by. Granted, I can bring up the letter to Isabella. I can bring up the letter Isabella found in the mansion, but chances are they will just pass it off as a coincidence. And coincidence is never substantial, never enough in my work. There must be something we have not seen yet, and the corporate has simply exploited those urban legends to hide these crimes. Relatively speaking, we're grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. I'm not even the one heading this investigation yet. Look at me treat it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulder. How sad is that? Even LPD doesn't even have an inkling of what we're supposed to be looking for here. Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go in that line of thinking for now, particularly with how much every news outlet has blown this up. But I mean, you already saw the ghost, Ashton. Why do you still try to not believe it? Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical reasoning and argument I can throw at it. To tell the truth though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It will bother me more if I don't follow up on a promise I made to her. And after Rebecca's claims last night, I'm not so sure now if the decision is meant to pacify or a part of me is just desperate to put a stop to these deaths. It also goes that there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if what they are saying is true. Jesus. Isabella's laughter already echoes in my mind. In fact,
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
she doesn't wait for me to finish. Oh, jeez, alright. With a roll of her eyes, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. I have no idea what I've said this time, but
I probably deserve that.
yeah. We're just gonna have to mend this some other time, but by then, her temper is sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. Why the sad music? For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first. Deliver the bad news, then that issue with BRC and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach's. Check on him, hear what he has to say. He's also read that damn letter. Has also been saying odd things about a bunch of photographs. I might as well, while I'm here, playing a paranormal detective? Or is it supernatural? I can't remember. This certainly is not something I'll bother with on my free day. It's supernatural, by the way. I'm going to be laughing stock at the precinct if anyone finds out I'm considering this is a possible angle for these murders. Inspector Abigail and Officer Carl mostly. Whatever. It will not hurt anyone if I try to get to the bottom of this. No one has to know either. If nothing comes out of it, then good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses and we can finally get back on track with our lives. And to more important stuff. If there's something...
Are you two done?
Her voice instantly jerks me out of my thoughts and my head snaps up in search of her. There's a moment of confusion when I don't see her familiar ponytail about, only to find her standing behind the door to her apartment seconds later. Isabella holds it open, though only slightly, as if to hide from anyone who might happen to pass by. This early and on a lazy weekend, I doubt anyone will. But from the gap and what little light there is behind her, I can make out the appearances of someone who has just literally gotten up from bed. Carrying complete disarray, eyes still heavy with sleep, and a small pout on the lips. I can tell why she doesn't want to be seen by anyone yet. She has not even got out of her pajamas. I look away long before my sense of decorum kicks in. We might be friends, and even they say we've grown closer over the years, but that doesn't extend beyond the bounds of propriety. Christ! Even Rebecca never greets early visitors in her sleep clothes. So maybe it's awful why she's up this early, checking the ones making the ruckus outside the room. Still, it makes a slow crawl up my neck, one that I quickly downplay with a solid caw.
Isabella, you're up early.
Isabella! Lame.
No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour. You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early.
Says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed.
Instead of the usual quip, she simply looks away. Avers her gaze to some point beside her, and although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickers in her eyes. Aww, man. It disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but that fleeting moment has sent a worried churn in my stomach. I've seen it on her plenty of times before, just never in a manner that unsettles. Feels, I don't know, off this time. I didn't see anything wrong, did I?
Hey, are you...
Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place.
Jeez.
Me? Becca's the one almost shouting.
Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't. You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person.
What?
Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place.
Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days.
Ouch! Why are you so mean? That's not you. She follows it up with another bout. With her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I notice now take away from the intimidating effect she's trying to exhibit. In the first place, she's not the kind who looks terrifying. Rebecca's more than capable of pulling that off. Isabella, not so much. She's going to have to try harder than that. There are times when she can and does, though only on a bad day and when she means it.